If I told you you could have a fully automatic pistol that shoots 50 caliber rounds that explode and freeze at the same time, would you be interested? If the answer is yes, welcome to episode 28 of the Fallout 4 Mod Vault. If the answer is no...
Would you like me to repeat the question?
This is the Spartan Powered Armour. Now, I have not played Far Harbor yet, so I don't know if you will find some different looking powered armours in that DLC. But I have to say, this powered armour is one of the more unique powered armours I have seen. Whilst it's pretty close to powered armour in how it works, it really does look quite different. It looks more like an underwater diving power armor set, to be honest. And my first thought when I saw this was that it kind of made me look like a bad guy from a Doctor Who episode. This armor is obviously pretty chunky looking. It doesn't have that sleek Adonis type figure that other powered armors seem to have. It really goes for a very barrel-like chest piece. In fact, the chest and helmet are one unit. It is just one item. It can be modified as all powered armor, but because the chest and headpiece is one, you actually get a few more options, because of course you get the searchlight option on the torso. You also have the miscellaneous mods, but you will not be able to have a jetpack with this powered armor. One of the things that is missing for this armor on the main torso stroke headpiece is a slot for the mods you normally get in a helmet, such as targeting computers. But don't worry, because the mod comes with a visor, and that visor can actually be worn with normal armor or in powered armor, and you can add different mods, including the targeting HUD, internal database, and so on. All of the usual mods you add to a powered armor helmet. This armor doesn't just look very tough, it actually is very tough. If you upgrade it fully, the armor rating is very impressive indeed. This armor doesn't just look like the armor of a tank, it kind of behaves like it as well. A great mod, a very unique set of powered armor, and loving it. The next mod I'm going to show you is called Gunsmith Extended, and it gives you a lot more options to modify your weapons. It depends on the weapon that you're going to be modifying, but it separates out things like automatic fire, the caliber, and, believe it or not, some of the legendary weapon effects into their own section. So for example, on the combat rifle here, I have caliber as its own section, and I can change it to any of these calibers. You have firing mode, which is pretty simply, do you want automatic or semi-automatic? And finally, the ammunition, which I've currently got set to the standard ammunition, but you can set it to be armor piercing, cryo, incendiary, and a few others. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can change the ammo type to be something like cryo rounds and still keep the legendary effect if it is a legendary weapon. Obviously, this is not just giving you more options, it's giving you the option to make fairly powerful weapons. I mean, for example, I've got a 10mm here that is now set to be an automatic 50 caliber with explosive rounds plus the legendary effect. That is going to be very powerful indeed. Now, I've not managed to playtest this mod, so I can't tell you how well balanced it is, and I could imagine perhaps it might need some tweaking, perhaps some negatives added to some of the more powerful options, but I can't say for sure. But I just love this idea. I love messing around in the weapons crafting. I love modifying my weapon, and I've got to say, I'm going to be keeping my eye on this mod. Did you used to enjoy flying around the Commonwealth in a Vertibird, and then one day it all stopped working? Suddenly your pilot is flying through buildings, mountains, bridges, and I don't just mean a little bit. I'm not talking this sort of clipping a wire or a branch when they land, the type of thing you probably expect if you're settlement building. I'm talking full on through the front of a building and out the back, several of them, in a totally ridiculous manner. Believe it or not, this is not actually a bug with the game, it's a bug caused by some mods. Now, I'm not going to name which mods are causing this problem in this video. I did do some testing and found a few. However, if you wish to go through your load order and, remove one mod at a time until you figure out exactly which mod, you can do that. However, A, that is pretty time consuming, and B, you may find that the mods that are causing this are mods you really, really love. But don't worry, there is actually a fix, because somebody has released a mod called Personal Vertibird Flight Altitude Fix, and it does exactly that. You install the mod, you make sure it's at the bottom of your load order, and it seems to fix the vertibirds. I had no problems. I flew around several different places, and apart from the odd wire when I was landing, I didn't hit anything. I can tell you that the unofficial Fallout 4 patch should fix this, and looking at it, it does seem to do the same thing that the Personal Vertibird Flight Altitude Fix does. However, it usually comes at the top of your load order, and so mods down below can in fact mess that up. So actually you may need the Personal Vertibird Flight Altitude Fix as well, even if you're using the unofficial Fallout 4 patch. I mean, big thank you to the mod author for this mod, because it was something that was driving me nuts.
Setting her down at the target location.
On a related note, if you're getting tired of having to buy the Vertibird signal grenades, or you're using a mod and you keep having to craft more and more, there is a mod called Vertibird Beacon that will just give you the option to craft a single Vertibird Beacon. You use it and it sends a little signal, and a vertibird is summoned to your location. In all other ways, it seems to work just the same as the vertibird signals. It summons a vertibird, you get in and you do your thing. The difference being you don't have to send a smoke signal to start with. You craft it yourself at the chemistry station, and you're going to need science rank 1 and 3 vertibird signal grenades to start with. This means you will not be able to make this until you have access to those grenades. So any thoughts of summoning those vertibirds before you met the Brotherhood? I'm afraid not. You can use it from the Pip-Boy if you want, or you can favourite it and just basically use it as often as you like. For people who like to use vertibirds and are just a little fed up with the whole smoke grenade routine, this is a viable little convenience mod that will probably save you a little bit of irritation. Last week I covered a mod called Do It Yourself that allowed you to place pre-made collections of clutter into shelves and make the place look a little more lived in. And whilst I was talking about a desire to be able to place the clutter and junk items in other places, I received quite a few comments asking whether or not I had tried out OCDecorator. And I'll be honest, it's on my list of mods to check, but I've just not got round to it. But I tested it out and I immediately saw why people were suggesting it. It does exactly what I need. It adds a section called OCDecorator at the end of the workshop menu, and once you go into there you have lots of different categories of clutter items. Let's go to kitchen and dining, as I am in the kitchen right now, and for example we've got food items, baked bloat fly, and any of these items that I have in my workshop. There we go, I've got grilled radstag I can place. You can place bottles, coffee pots, you can place board games or perhaps a chessboard. Those little iBots that you collected from the Mechanist's lair, individual towels in the bathroom, desk fans, clothing irons, and handcuffs, because everybody needs a hobby. In fact, from what I can see, if you can find clutter out in the wasteland, you can probably place it with this mod. And once placed, these items cannot be moved. It doesn't matter if you bump into them or smack them around a little bit, they will stay exactly where you put them, which is great news. It uses all of the items from the supply-lined workshops, as you would expect from any furniture, so even though this particular place has nothing in the workshop inventory, as you can see, I can still place things because these items were in a workshop somewhere else. Obviously, for neatly stacked shelves filled with stuff, the mod I showed you last week is probably much better, but if you're looking for a mod that allows you to add a few key items to specific places, this mod is almost certainly the one you're looking for. Really great mod, glad you guys reminded me about it, and this is probably another one of those that's going to go in my must-have list. Staying with the subject of letting the entire world know how much stuff you have, these are Ms.Rae's unique containers. They are, in most ways, just fairly standard containers. You can put pretty much anything you want into them. It just looks like they've already got stuff placed in them. So you have, for example, the knick-knack shelf, the clothing container, the weapons rack, and even a broken fridge. As I've said, what you put in there is not reflected. You don't actually see it appear, which would be nice, but also extremely difficult to achieve. But you can put whatever you want into here. So I can put some plasma grenades, I can put food, I can even put armor if I wish to walk around naked. The same is true of the weapons racks, the same is true of the clothing container, which I really like actually. I think that is a very cool idea. There are even these little plastic containers for weapons, and they can be placed on surfaces, they can be placed on the floors, they can be placed on the top of furniture or within existing shelves, and they give yet more storage space. And really it is as simple as that. You just get a lot more containers, and these containers, well, they look interesting. They make the place look busy, they make the place look, again, lived in. And finally, if you truly want to drive all your neighbours insane with jealousy, why not mount some of those great weapons you found on the walls? This is the weapon rack bracket mod, and it just allows you to add a bracket to a wall that you can then activate and place your weapon on. To remove the weapon, you simply once again take it. So I will just take all of these weapons. As you can see, I have placed some brackets. These are right facing brackets. This is a left facing bracket. And all I have to do is activate it with one of my weapons equipped. I've just equipped the plasma rifle. There you go. I will now equip the hunting rifle. And finally, shotgun. There you go, my explosive shotgun. And it just places them on the wall where they will look cool, but also be easily accessible. I mean, I have no weapon at the moment, and yet I can just quickly take that and suddenly be shooting with it. This could actually be useful. If there's a weapon you really like, but it's a bit too heavy to take, perhaps on survival mode, and you want it close at hand just in case there is a settlement attack, you can actually place it on a rack really close to where you either spawn in or run in through a gate, and then you'll just be able to take the thing off the wall and start shooting with it as long as you have the ammo. Size does not seem to be an issue. There you have a fat man, and I can put a laser Gatling up there without any trouble. And there are even brackets that let you mount your weapons on flat surfaces such as tables. I will place my plasma rifle there and my hunting rifle there, so you can set up display cases. And that's it. Very, very easy to use, looks great, and is actually quite useful. And as you can probably tell by the screenshots, that is all we have time for this week. I would like to once again thank everybody who has submitted screenshots and images for me to use in these videos. If you would like to contribute an image for me to use, I will leave a link down below to a video that will show you exactly how you can do that, and let me thank you in advance for doing so. I'll be back next week with more great mods to share with you, and I would love it if you could join me for that. I look forward to seeing you there, and until then, remember, as always, have fun. If you're curious as to whether I've covered a mod in one of my videos, feel free to go along to my website gophersvids.com and check the search functionality out. Just type the name of the mod you're interested in, open up the settings and filter by mods only. Click for search and you will see whether or not I've covered that mod. Click on the mod and it will also show you any of the videos this mod appears in.